And now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story of 2024. I am obviously Bonnie Builder, and let's crib the top stories of the year. This is number 3 of 24. After the death of Pope Francis, will the Catholic Church make a hard right? This story was broadcast on March 7th on Queer God Squad. Amid Pope Francis's health concerns earlier this year, questions arose about the Catholic Church's future, especially LGBTQ inclusion. Critics, particularly conservatives, opposed his decisions to remove figures like Cardinal Burke and promote inclusivity. As Francis continues advocating for compassion, the queer community wonders if these progressive changes will survive a future Pope's tenure. Let's find out.
This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. After the death of Pope Francis, will the Catholic Church make a hard right? Amidst concerns over the health of Pope Francis, questions arise regarding the future direction of the Catholic Church, particularly in relation to LGBTQ+ inclusion and conservative backlash. At almost 87 years of age, Pope Francis has battled various health issues, including recent hospitalizations for abdominal and respiratory conditions. His tenure has been marked by efforts to make the church more inclusive and compassionate, evoking both praise and criticism. Conservative groups are upset with the Pope due to certain decisions like the removal of Cardinal Burke from his Vatican home and halting his salary. This happened because he opposed including LGBTQ+ people and women more fully in the church. In a recent defense of his decision to allow priests to bless same-sex couples, Pope Francis condemned hypocrisy within the church, asserting that love and compassion should transcend judgment. Francis has been steadfast in promoting inclusivity and hopes that critics will eventually understand and accept these changes. Amidst this ideological divide, Queer God Squad wonders about the direction of the Catholic Church once the Pope is no longer around, particularly concerning LGBTQ+ rights. Some queer-friendly churches in America, like Sunshine Cathedral of Fort Lauderdale, are contributing towards a better, more inclusive and accepting environment for everyone. But will this be enough? Some have suggested that, like Barack Obama becoming the first black U.S. president and the backlash we witnessed in America in 2016, we will experience a fundamental backlash and move to the hard right when a new pope is selected.
I didn't grow up Catholic. I don't have a whole lot to say on this. I don't think too highly of anybody who participates at that level, such as the Pope. I respect Sunshine Cathedral, obviously, love them to death. Oh, I shouldn't say death. I love you, Sunshine Cathedral. But to this specific subject matter, I don't see a whole lot of hope in it. I hear that Pope was the most open-minded thus far, which is sad to say because I feel like the Catholic faith has been around for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So to get to 2024 and be like, now we got one, those aren't great numbers. How y'all feel?
You know, I wasn't raised Catholic either. I did like Catholic schoolgirls, but not the point. You know, my wife was, and she still has PTSD from it, right? When it comes to religion, there is no bigger than Catholicism and how it reigns supreme here in the United States and in a lot of other countries. Pope Francis is the first to really even acknowledge that we exist, right? And say the word transgender, right? He was also found to be having meetings in the back where he would call, you know, he would call us faggots, right, in Italian. So I mean, let's be real, right? We're being okay we're given crumbs, and we're like, oh, let's be happy that the Catholic Church is finally seeing us for who we are. You know, F that. I'm sorry. You know, we shouldn't be happy with just crumbs. We deserve a full meal. You know, the hypocrisy is so huge. You won't include us, but you will hide priests who are abusing little kids, right? I mean, I can't with that. Pope Francis has definitely acknowledged us more. What will happen if the gentleman passes away? Yes, they're going to go back to being right, and even going more far right with people like Trump at the helm of this country. That is what I'm expecting.
That's what's going to happen. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, if Opus Dei followers such as Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation are any indication, you don't need a magic 8-ball to tell you that signs point to yes. It's going to be bad.
Right, and we just have an uncertain world that we're living in right now. And if you look at Italy, and they've elected a fascist, and the rest of the world, and where we're headed, and all the gains we make, it's that whole pendulum thing. We've swung to one degree, and now we're swinging so far back that hopefully we'll find a middle ground at some point. But I think we're going to live through some tough times right now, as there's this adjustment by the conservative community that wants to see us go back to a more conservative for women's rights, for everything else, and gay rights.
Yeah.
So, we're buckle up.
I loved seeing Reverend Kevin Tisdale give this story on Queer God Squad, because he's just such an amazing human being. And let me remind our viewers that folks nearby, if you want to go to church, it's not all not inclusive. They're very inclusive here at Sunshine Cathedral, where our studios are based. In Miami, there's Unity on the Bay. There are many, 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 many religious churches that are non-denominational, that are all inclusive. It's not, I grew up seeing that sign outside churches that said all are welcomed, and then once walking in knowing that wasn't true, right? That's not the case when it comes to Sunshine Cathedral. So if you're being called to find some kind of organized religion, that would be the best way to go. Right. Yeah. And it's a great way to start the new year. I mean, my resolution for the new year, right? You guys should know, is that I'm not going to curse anymore.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hello, we're talking about church. You're not supposed to be cursing. So,
we're not in church. Okay. We're next door to the church.
We're at church adjacent, but we're still church adjacent, So for the new year, if you want to find a religion, or you want to find fellowship, Sunshine Cathedral is definitely the way to go. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm still not going to curse. That's my new thing for 2025.
I'm going to.
Okay, new
I'll
improved say what? No cursing.
All right.
So we are bringing you a special presentation of the 24 biggest stories of the year, and we call it Top 24 of 2024. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.